So now, capital. So yeah, of course there are 8 people that own everything and, etc. But you see, if you understand capitalism to be embodied in those 8 people, then the execution of 8 people will lead us to socialism. But we know that that's not the case. And we know that's not the case because, Rajat, you talked about how work gives dignity, which I think of as the logic of capital, not the logic of human freedom. I understand the idea that waged employment somehow is making you a person, is part of the social relations of capital, from which I want to be liberated. So in that sense, capital is an abstract social force. It's not only vested in the 8 people that are not the only capitalists. They have the ones who have hoarded property, which they have then in such enormous amounts been able to structure political power also to their benefit. But capitalism as a social force is inside our bones, inside our expectations, inside our ambitions. It is, in that sense, it's a virus that runs through the system, that even the most deprived person is underneath the regime and rule of capitalist social relations. In that sense, it's abstract. What I meant is, in the old days, if you go and on a pitchfork put the Lord's head, you might have ended feudalism in that area. You could have created some sort of liberated zone. A slave uprising in Brazil could have created a liberated Maroon, and people then created interesting new social relations because they were able to. In our period, even if one country gets rid of the bourgeoisie from power, it is embargoed. We saw that 100 years ago with the Russian Revolution, and right up to the present with the Venezuelans under immense pressure. Whatever their own problems are, they are yet under immense pressure. So in that sense, capital is not vested merely in you can run struggles and personalize it, but be careful with what you're doing. Because then you're also pedagogically suggesting the exit of, whatever it is, Adani, whatever is suddenly going to change India. It's not. So that's what I mean. I want to be very particular in understanding capital as this universal social phenomena that we have to tackle and uproot from the root, not from, the branches. So that's what I mean by capital. It's that general social phenomena. Leisure is a short word that we steal from the 8-hour struggle. It doesn't mean just faffing about. I mean, that's not what leisure means. Leisure has to eclipse work. In other words, we need to construct a world where people work joyfully, not miserably. Tista is quite right. What happens is somebody goes to this BPO, works a miserable job, comes back to a computer, and then it's 3 hours of galis against everybody. I hate you, Muslims have ruined. I mean, that sense of anger, frustration, humiliation is extraordinarily general in our societies. The work is degrading people. Unemployment is degrading people. So let's rethink what it means to reproduce ourselves as a society. It's a much broader challenge. And the left has to be up to that challenge. We cannot allow the right to take the first exit. There are many further exits that we have to imagine. Our imagination has to be much extended. The left is not just the defense of yesterday. It's imagining tomorrow. So we have to think very creatively of what a technologized world is going to look like. Why is it that power currently and property, in other words, capital, power and property being the 2 legs of capital, how capital has been able to seize technology so that simple technologies like the sewer cleaner, the smokeless chula, the waterless toilet aren't generalized. In Nepal, the biggest killer for women is the chula producing smoke. Now, there are millions of these inventions. But capital has not allowed us to generalize them because the rate of return on generalizing that technology is not as high as making you have a new phone every year. So in that sense, we have to reimagine the whole thing. Not take leisure to mean just walking around on the beach. It means re-understanding what it means to be human and reproduce the world. By the way, if we don't make bold claims, we might as well close down the left. The left isn't about minor adjustments and defending yesterday. The left is about making a bold claim about the future. That's what we're there for. And that's what makes our task so bloody difficult. See, remaining in the present is not allowing us to capture people's imaginations. In the last election, for instance, there was a thing, you people don't understand aspiration. What kind of aspiration? Not the aspiration of the present, but we aspire to a different kind of aspiration where people understand to care for each other, to understand each other as being in a society, not that you are less productive than me, therefore I disrespect you. Not that kind of society. What kind of society you want to build, not what kind of factory you want to build. I want to live in a world where we're thinking more about societies in general, not workplaces in particular.